Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the virtual class again. In last lecture, we have studied about the separation method regarding immiscible liquids and miscible mixtures and like that. Okay, and we have seen evaporation method, centrifugation method, fraction distillation, distillation, simple distillation, and so many methods we have seen in last lecture. And I told you at that time also the difference between the fraction distillation and the distillation. I repeat again, when the two miscible liquids having a boiling point difference is 25 K or less than 25 K, then we supposed to do the fraction distillation method to separate both miscible liquid. If the difference of boiling point is more than 25 K between the two miscible liquid, then we can apply or we can use the distillation process. Now today we are going to learn about the separation of the component of the air by fraction distillation method. As you know, air is a homogeneous mixture of so many gases, and the boiling temperature of all the gases are very having the 25K less than difference of 25K, and that's why we have to use a fractional distillation process to separate the component of air from the main air. As you know, in air, nitrogen, the quantity of nitrogen is highest. It is 78.084. Approximately, we used to write 78%. In air, the part of oxygen is 20.964 percentage, so approximate we write 21 percentage. So if you see that the most of the part or portion of air covered by nitrogen and oxygen, 99% out of 100, it is covered by nitrogen and oxygen. Now what about the others are having the quantity of argon is 0.934, carbon dioxide 0.04, and rest of the gases are neon, helium, methane, krypton, etc. Now it is a difficult process to separate all this component from air. Now this is the total process, and I am going to explain how we can separate each component of air from by this fractional distillation. Now, the first of all, here you can see this is the filter, this is the compressor, this is the another unit, this is the separating funnel, this is the fraction distillation column, and last is the container in which liquid oxygen we can store. Okay, so how this equipment together work to get a liquid oxygen, let's see. So first of all, air is absorbed by the filter. Here whatever filter is there, it absorbs moisture or dust, whatever impurities air has, it can absorb, and the air which are now free from moisture and dust, it will go in the compressor. In this compressor, the pistons are there and they are continuously moving like this. They are continuously moving like this to create the pressure. To create the pressure, it means the temperature increased, and because of increased temperature, now this normal air, it become a hot air at the end, at the top of this pipeline, and that hot air now goes into this tank, and in this tank, as you see, there is a pipeline which is a curved pipeline, and at the top and bottom it is open. From the bottom, freezing cold water continuously move inside and getting outside from the top. Why this facility they have given here? To convert the hot air into liquid air. As you see, here it is the hot air as it comes in this tank, and because of this continuously moving or rotating of the freezing cold water, that hot air become a cool now, and they become store at the bottom, and gradually its level increases and it will move to the separator. This process we called as the condensation, when hot air by using cold water or cold storage it convert into the liquid form, it will be called as a condensation. So we can call this tank as a condensation tank also. Now after the liquid air, it will move into the separator. As you see, its diameter is too high. It means the air which is compressed, it can separate here equally, and the temperature will goes down. The temperature will goes down, and as the temperature goes down, firstly carbon dioxide moved out as a dry ice, and rest of the liquid air, in which mainly it is oxygen, nitrogen, argon, krypton, they can now move into the fraction distillation column. Now oxygen, boiling point of oxygen is minus 183, nitrogen is minus 196, and argon is minus 186. So in fraction distillation, if the temperature is created as minus 184, then what happen? Then nitrogen and oxygen will move out as a gaseous state, and what is remaining? Remaining is just oxygen, and that liquid oxygen we can take out or store in the container of which I shown in the last. I hope you get all the process. Now let's talk about the crystallization method. Crystallization method usually used to purify the substance, and it is a process that separates a pure solid in forms of a crystal from a solution. For example, sea we get salt we get from the sea water. As you know, the crystal means आपने sugar देखा है, salt देखा है. Salt is a fine particle, right? But sugar you have seen, right? Though, so that cube we can say as a crystals. So why we need this crystallization process? We have already studied about the evaporation technique. In that also, when we evaporate the solution and the water as removed or evaporate, we lastly get the solid which is pure, right? So why crystallization process needed? What is the advantage of crystallization process over the evaporation technique that we are going to see? But first I want to tell you about how do we get the salt from seawater. See, the seawater has so many impurities in it, and to remove that many impurities we used to do the crystallization process. So due to sun rays, the water evaporates, the rest of the crystal particle we get as a salt, they are pure because the impurities is evaporate due to the sun rays. Like that we can now see the advantages and how it works. Now let's see the difference between the crystallization process and evaporation process. So if we want to get a pure copper sulfate substance, then we can perform both the process, crystallization and evaporation. But the crystallization is better than the evaporation. So what is the actual process we have to do to get pure CuSO4? Let's see. So here in whatever impure CuSO4 we have, that we dissolve in water, and we have to heat on the burner here. At the temperature here in crystallization process is not very high, and after dissolving the enough quantity of CuSO4 and after removing some quantity of solvent, it means water, we can stop heating and keep this saturated solution of CuSO4 as it is to cool down, and after 24 hours or some few hours, if we can see, we will get a crystal of CuSO4. Now in evaporation, what happened? In evaporation, again same thing, we dissolve CuSO4, which is impure, in water, and we can give a continue heat through the Bunsen burner. And then here the temperature we required is very high, because we have to remove most of the amount of solvent, and last very few parts of solute we left. And in this case, in crystallization, the amount of solvent we removed is quite small compared to the evaporation. Now we are going to see what is the advantage of crystallization. Some solids decompose, or some like sugar may get charred on heating to the dryness. What it means? If we do the evaporation, as I just told you, maximum amount of solvent we remove, and in that case it may be happen that solid, which it means solute, is decomposed. Decompose means, what is decomposition? Decomposition, it means a breaking of a substance in a small constituent. Some like sugar may get charred. Get charred means get blackish. अगर हम शुगर को ज़्यादा गर्म करते हैं, then it may be turn in a brown or a black. So some solid decompose, or some like sugar may get charred on heating to dryness. So this is the first disadvantage of a evaporation process. Now the second, some impurities may remain dissolved in solution even after the filtration, and on evaporation this contaminate the solid. It means some impurities may remain in dissolved solution. If we give a so high temperature, that impurities also dissolve in that. Are you getting me? Okay. If at up to one level, if we give the temperature, it may happen that impurities do not dissolve in that solution and get removed by the evaporation. But in this case, in evaporation, what happened? If we give a large amount of heat or temperature, we give very high, then it is possible that that impurities which is dissolved in that substance also dissolve in a solution. Okay. Now next is, here in case of a crystallization not required high temperature, and on opposite side evaporation required high temperature. In evaporization, we allow the solution to heat to make the solvent evaporate, but this may degrade the solute into some another compound. I just told you that it may decompose. Here it may be turned into some another compound by heating, if we give a high temperature heating till long duration. Are you getting it? Okay, so here I just repeat again. In crystallization, temperature require less, and as we get the saturated solution, we get, and after cooling down for 24 hours or more than 24 hours, we get the crystals, and we can separate the crystal from the impurity, which is not possible in case of evaporation, as the temperature is very high required. And due to the high requirement of temperature, it may happen that the impurities also dissolve in the solution. So as per the, we can say that, as we can choose either crystallization or evaporation process, we can choose one of it according to the nature of the component of the mixture to get a pure substance. I hope you understand all these things which I taught you today regarding the fraction distillation of air, and the difference between crystallization and evaporation method, and how both the process we can do to get the pure substance. Here I am going to stop my lecture, and we will meet soon in next lecture day, after 1 day or 2 day. Till then, bye.